on the extreme life of Matt Hardy. John Alba and Matt Hardy got into an interesting debate when the question was asked, is today's modern era more popular than the Attitude Era? Are we living through a bigger wrestling boom period than we did through the almighty Attitude Era? And the answer, though definitive in my opinion, is a bit nuanced. Check out this clip and then we'll catch you on the back end.
Is wrestling hotter now than ever? Yes or no?
I don't think wrestling is hotter now than it was in the late 90s. But I do think wrestling has a much more sprawling impact around the globe. And I think it has the chance and ability to become hotter now than it was back then. I think that's where we're at right now. I think many more people consume pro wrestling in this day and age in so many different ways, and you can't keep those numbers. But back then, it was just a little bit hotter at that time because it was truly a part of pop culture, and that is something that is really hard to do. Now it's much more of a niche, industry, as most everything is. There's so many things out there. There's so much entertainment to choose from, and everything is almost niche and has like a very certain audience. That's why I am a huge advocate of saying we have to appeal to like more casual fans. I think casual fans are the way to grow pro wrestling in the big scheme of things. I mean, the people that are wrestling fans, they're going to tune in and they're going to watch wrestling because they love it. And they can complain, they can bitch, they can moan, but they're going to tune in and they're going to watch it because they love pro wrestling and they have to get their fix, so to say. But I think we need to continue to try and build people that are crossover stars that appeal to the casual audience.
It's a fun question to ask. I do think Matt Hardy nailed it. I think he nailed it spot on, as a matter of fact. I think he got the nuances of the conversation perfectly. Look, the Attitude Era I don't think will ever be topped or replaced because it was such a huge part of pop culture. I don't know that there's ever been any kind of pro wrestling that has ever broken through it. The early 80s, perhaps Hulkamania with the rock and wrestling connection. Hulk was popular with Mr. T and that sort of thing back at that time. But even then, the Attitude Era had put that to shame by comparison. I would say this would probably be the third most prominent era in professional wrestling. Maybe not even ratings wise. I would assume that the Ruthless Aggression era was probably a bigger ratings juggernaut than wrestling is now. But there's other factors besides ratings to be considered. I think the Attitude Era / NWO / Monday Night Wars was, peak wrestling and always will be. Peak pop culture, peak popularity, peak ratings, peak money, drawing, all of that. Biggest stars you'll ever see again. All of that. And then Hogan's era, the rock and wrestling era specifically. And then thirdly, I do think it's this modern era. Look, we got fucking stadium shows being sold out all over the fucking place. WWE's doing them for every premium live event now. Can't believe I'm saying the word premium live event. You could tell I was struggling with that. Pay-per-view. I guess I'll change with the times, though. Because I don't like how they rebrand everything, but I guess it's not really pay-per-view technically anymore, so I guess a rebranding is justified. But premium live events, they're all in stadiums now. I'm going to SummerSlam this weekend, as a matter of fact, in Ford fucking Field, where they haven't been since WrestleMania 23. So it's big. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Wrestling is a big deal. AEW, no slouches themselves. Damn near selling out Wembley Stadium, if not possibly. There's been no card announced yet, and it's still a month away. So they absolutely can, sell those last, 15,000 tickets. They're already at 75,000. So it's doable. Not to mention, like the money that gets spent on wrestling, merchandise through the roof, social media, interactions, views, the money that it's getting from the networks, the licensing fees, the rights fees, all of that shit Wrestling is and it's more acceptable. It might not be as pop culture as it was in the 90s, but it's more socially acceptable now. It's not the trailer park, hillbilly, redneck, fake wrestling shit that people kind of have always tried to paint it as. Even now it struggles with that stereotype, but it's widely accepted. We'll talk about later, in an interview with Mark Maron, a huge mainstream guy who gets the point. This is a show. This is theatrics. So it's definitely come a long way since those days. But look, man, that's it. It is what it is now. Wrestling it's a different beast than it was at the time back in the 90s. I don't think we'll ever get to that point again that we had with a Stone Cold and an NWO and all of that. But fuck, man, John Cena, huge megastar. Roman Reigns on his way to being a huge megastar. Cody Rhodes on his way to being a huge megastar. And just the business that wrestling does to these huge premium live event sales, the rights fees, all of that. Wrestling is more significant, making more money than it maybe ever has in wrestling. But to say it's more popular or, bigger than the Attitude Era, I just don't think you can go there. But you can absolutely make a case for it to be in the top. Like I said, I'd put it at the top 3 eras in the entire history of wrestling. I wasn't around for the 50s or whatever, and there was less channels, and maybe it was more popular. I guess the modern era, 80s and up, you can't. There hasn't been a bigger time since the Attitude Era. So that's my opinion on it, though. What are your thoughts? Is today's era better, bigger, more popular than it was in the Attitude Era? The fact that the question is even being asked shows that we're in a hell of a wrestling boom period right now. And ratings are not all it's cracked up to be, especially now with the streaming and the YouTube. I mean, look, you can I don't watch SmackDown. They post the entire fucking Bloodline angle on their YouTube or on their Facebook page immediately after it happens. I don't need to watch SmackDown. I can see the entire segment on social media. A lot of people do that. A lot of people follow wrestling through that. Or download it. Or fucking watch it, days later. Or whatever the case may be. There's ways. But the live attendants don't lie. It's far from struggling. There are towns that don't do so great. They're not selling out everything, but they're doing stadiums so much more frequently now. It's insane. It's insane. So those are my thoughts, but I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Until then, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next.
Oh yeah, thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah, and you can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Oh yeah, dig it.